It is 2953 of the Third Age. Erebor has been reclaimed. Sauron has fled from Mirkwood into Mordor to begin his pursuit for the One Ring. And the last meeting of the White Council has tasked Gildor Inglorion with assembling a fellowship to stop Umbarian pirates from assembling ancient artifacts from a Second Age prophecy. Join the players of this Adventures of Middle-earth Dungeons & Dragons campaign as they unravel the mysteries of the prophecy. Welcome to Arda in Part 1 of the Inglorion Bastards trilogy, Search for Tol Arasea.
Cool. You guys, the thing that we forgot to do the last time was to take a look at the land that you've been traveling through. It's considered wild country, and it's going to need everybody to do a wisdom save for traveling through blighted lands. Just one. So it looks like both Burin and Tessero take a shadow point. And I'll roll for Riken. Yeah, I know some of you took some shadow points. There's going to be a fair opportunity, considering the land that you're going through, to take some today. By the time you reach the Withered Heath tonight, you'll have been on the road for almost a month. So some of our embarkation rolls that we're doing, where the temperature is getting to us or the food is scarce, like that kind of makes sense in some ways. Like, probably very few of you have actually been on the road for a month in the mountains, in wildlands and shadowlands, and let alone trying to cross the mountains while people are chasing you. So we're going to start today's session where you're in Helagrad, which is kind of like not a mausoleum, but it's basically like it's a tribute. It's a dwarven tribute site to Durin on Durin's march, which was what they called the path that Durin took after he awoke down to Khazad Dûn. And if you can, I'm not going to share these with you, just open up handouts, lore, and I've shared, look at the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards that might not apply to all of you. Certainly the Dunedain. Actually, I think it applies to most people except Tessero.
So the top 6?
The top 6. So not all of you will have all 6. So it ranges from Grey Mountains to Mirkwood to the Old Well to Raynar to the Withered Heath to Wizards in Istari. So as those topics come up tonight, if they're shared with you, that means you know something about them. Okay. And you're welcome to share that information with the group. You guys have acquired Anguero. You still need to acquire, and the whole point of this mission was to go and get the Elostirian stone, the Elendil stone, which is one of the Palantiri. It was the Palantiri that sees west to Tol Eressëa. It doesn't communicate with the rest of the Palantiri. And so you are tracking, actually the Dunedain, if you can remember how many Umbarian corsairs you were trailing. Do you remember?
Like 16?
11, actually.
11.
Yep. And you've killed 2.
Okay, so there's 9 left.
So you have 9 Umbarian corsairs left. Yeah. And you have last time you were out in the open sun, you heard orc horns, and you knew that they weren't far away. And you think, you're really close to the orc stronghold up there. Okay. So you guys wake up from your rest. You got kind of like again, we're not doing things exactly right. If you had slept, you probably could have gotten like a long rest in traditional D&D, but we're kind of saving that for. You guys will get, hopefully, most of you will get Sanctuary after this session, and you'll be able to get your cultural heirlooms and heritage point. And if you have acquired any of these by leveling up to level 4, make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, so we're going to get started right away. I'm going to move you over to a new map. So you say goodbye to Loni and Nali. They're going to look for Balin. They think maybe he's on a pilgrimage. He's like following the footsteps of Durin. So they think he's going on the march, which means he went south. So they head south. But if you can look at this map, does this path make sense to you?
Yeah.
Is this image cut off or?
Yeah, because I
Okay,
have sort of planned out the various routes you could take.
got it.
You
And
only want us to see the one route, then.
well, this was pretty straightforward. You can see where you could have deviated, like you could have taken different paths, and it's going to get wild after this. So at the end of this session, I'm going to ask you to sort of make some decisions so that I can plan for the future. But up until this point, I had it pretty well planned. After this point, it's all basically an outline for me because you can kind of go anywhere. All right, so you started in Bree. You headed through the Lone Lens, up River Horwell to the Etten Moors, over Eredor's End, by Mount Gundabad, by Heligrad, and you're about to cross both the River Anduin and the River Greylin, which is a tributary to the River Anduin. And you're going to go through the Grey Mountains into the Withered Heath. And now is a good time for anyone that might have any of those lore cards to share information about those areas.
So, the Withered Heath is known for being a breeding ground for great worms and serpents, and dragons lived and nurtured around the Withered Heath, so we may run into something like that.
And your character is privy to something else, Burin, having had relatives plagued by a specific dragon. Is there anything that you want to share with the group about that?
Yeah, so Raynar plagued the Grey Mountains more than 300 years ago. He's like now the greatest dragon of the north after Smaug was killed.
So he's what's considered a cold drake. That you would tell the group this, and most of you would know, but telling you for sort of player knowledge, when I say cold drake, let's think outside of the box, the typical D&D box where you get reds that breathe fire, you get whites that breathe cold, frost, and all that. Really, all that cold drake means is it does not breathe fire.
Okay.
There's some people out there with some information about the Grey Mountains.
So the Grey Mountains were the last remnants of the wall of the Iron Mountains, which stretched all over the north of Middle-earth, but were broken at the end of the First Age after the War of the Wrath. In the maps of the Second and Third Age, it may look like the Grey Mountains were but a northern arm of the Misty Mountains, but in truth the mountain range was far older, stemming from the creation of Arda, whereas the Misty Mountains had not been raised until years after the Year of the Lamps.
Older than the Misty Mountains, huh?
What's that?
I said it's much older than the Misty Mountains then, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you remember from the books or the movies where the king under the mountain, Dane, came from the Iron Hills, that whole army in the Battle of the Five Armies came from the Iron Hills, which is to the east of Erebor. So that chain over there and the chain you're now walking through used to run sort of east to west, and it was a really ancient set of mountains, and it is older than the Misty Mountains. Thought you guys would like some of this. You seem like you like the history piece.
Yeah, for sure. I like being able to relate it to the books and the movies too. It's been years since I read the books, but
Dude, if I paid as much attention to Middle-earth lore as I did to history class.
Yeah, right.
Me too, brother.
Yeah.
So you guys are hoofing it at this point. You guys come outside of Heligrad, and it seems to be clear of orcs for the time being. But Faradir can tell that they've been sort of trotting through the area. They knew you were there. They couldn't find any tracks. Some of them you think maybe wandered off after the Umbarians, thinking that those tracks were yours. But you know they're in the area. You know they're looking for you, and you know they're not far away. And so you travel for a good while, and you reach the River Greylin, which is comes out of the sort of the Grey Mountains. You've crossed that River Anduin already, and you get to the River Greylin, and it's like I said, it's a tributary, a little bit smaller, and you see this guy here, who Josh's character Riken would know as a Bjorning, and he's not looking at you at all. He's hiding behind a rock, and he's looking across the river.
What the amount of distance would you have to shout for him to hear us at that point, or would like like talking would he be able to hear? Would you say?
You're about 20 feet away, and you're hearing river sounds. You're hearing some bird sounds too. I mean, if you yelled, he'd hear you.
And you said Josh's character would recognize him as a Bjorning, or just recognize him in general?
Just as a Bjorning.
Okay.
So one of the free people of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Correct.
Anglin would probably turn and like look back at the group and be like, "It appears that there is someone hiding behind a rock over there."
Trader's like, yes, I noticed that as well.
He'd be like, "It's a strange place for someone to sit behind a rock, don't you think?"
Can I look across the river and maybe see what he's trying to spot?
Good idea. Yeah. So let's have everybody do some perception rolls.
Street
Hold on. We'll keep these rolls, but let's have our guide do an embarkation roll. That's
yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
I don't know if I would call it fun, but it's been
The peril rating this time around.
Yeah. Let me get it for you.
These lands are not known well to me, so.
I'm going to say there are 2.
All right. 12.
It's a pretty decent roll, actually. Embarkation roll. So, okay. The company sets, it's one of the highest that you can get, actually. The company sets out upon a path that will likely show them wonders long since forgotten and into dangers that would that most would quail at the thought of. But the auspices are good, and should the company be true, they will surely prevail. As a result, add 2 to the rolls on the journey events table. Additionally, rolls made to determine the initial outcome of these encounters should be made with advantage. So what I'll do, since we're not really doing journey events, I will give you a bonus at the end at our arrival roll tonight.
Sweet.
But you wake up refreshed, essentially, and you've already acquired one of the items. You feel like you're 2 of the items, and you feel like you're getting closer to the Umbarian. So you wake up, and you're very cheerful and rested. Having said that, see skill checks. Looks like Faradir is looking across the river, and he sees an unusual thing. Not so unusual for the wild, but just the method in which they're sitting there. You see some ravens, some crows on top of these bushes across the river, and they appear to be sort of scanning the perimeter.
Do they look like the ravens that the dwarves have a relationship with, or do they look like crebain, or whatever they're called? Not that our characters might know that, but...
You have noticed these appear to be the same kind of breeds as are used in the south, like near Dunlin.
So this is like that scene in Lord of the Rings where they all randomly hide under rocks and the birds don't see them?
Yes.
Alright, so I just say, crebain from Dunland, and I jump down and hide under a bush.
Okay. So let's have everybody do a stealth roll. If you're going to do stealth, you'd have to actually take cover behind something. So both Burn and Anglin are you actually run into each other before you end up in different bushes. And you hear squawking starting from across the river, and it echoes in any sort of tree or bush where you hadn't seen birds before or even noticed them. It just seems to start spreading and echoing through. And the Bjorning down here is like starts holding his ears, and you see him grabbing onto the bush like he's holding on for dear life.
I guess Anglin would try and dart up there and talk to him.
So Anglin, you go ahead and move if you want.
Okay.
You don't have to do a skill check. They already know you're here.
Okay.
So as you approach this guy, he freaks out and he grabs a hold of you. So I'll make a roll. Okay, he misses you, but he's reaching for you, and he's got this panicked look in his eyes. So he says, "You fool! Hold on to something."
He says that to me?
Yeah.
Anglin would be like, well, what seems to be the problem, dear friend?
You're just standing there.
Yeah.
So at that point, all the crebain take off, and it's like a whole flock from like trees that you didn't even know were there. It's just like they all sort of flutter away. All right, so the Bjorning goes first, and he says, "Look!" And his outstretched arm, he points to the river, and at that moment, you guys follow his hand, and you see. Forgive the way this looks. You see the river coming towards you.
What?
All right, and so that's all the farther it goes. For now, you notice it right away.
Does it look like it's flooding, or the river is moving?
It looks like the river the level is increasing.
Ah, okay.
And at this point, Christian Anglin hears a foul language on the wind.
Okay.
I said it.
Would he, because of his shadow lore, or could I make a shadow lore to understand it?
You can't understand it. You don't speak. It's a non-Oromaean language, but it's it is black speech.
Okay. Anglin would yell back to the party like, "It would appear that there's dark magic here." He says that we might want to hold on to something like our dear friend here.
So the Bjorning is going to make. He's just going to continue holding on. Okay, cool. All right, so Tessero, you're up first.
All right. What can I do? Okay, I guess he just.
Can you swim?
I don't know.
I just.
I don't know. He says.
You can't swim, Sam.
A lot of the hobbits can't swim.
Yeah.
Except for the brandy wines and stuff.
Dwarfs
Brandy
can't either.
Brandy bucks, yeah.
We'll have you do athletic checks. Let's see. So I drew some arrows on the ground, and those are where the Umbarian tracks went. So the Dunedain would know that, the Faradir. But their tracks are being sort of covered up by the river.
Okay, yeah, Tessero is going to run into the river.
I was going to say we should go to higher ground, but, running into the river works too.
I love that the Hobbit just runs right to the river. It's flooding, let's swim. All right, so you guys, you start moving downstream. I'm going to move you sort of where you are. And we'll say Riken sees Tessero, so he can't make it to you, but he does his best. All right, so he jumps in the water he's sprinting, and he gets swept even farther downstream. All right, Burren, you're up, and you love swimming, Burren.
Oh yeah, I love it. How strong is the current?
It appears to be picking up. Oh, don't worry, the water will continue to expand.
There, okay. I guess I'll go here and I'll try to save Tessero. I can't make it to Riken.
So athletics check for you.
I'm going to fail this too.
Yeah, my athletics is -1, so I'm probably screwed.
Same.
You guys, Burren is treading water. And you see Riken, who basically was in an adventure with him while Burren was drowning. Riken's can't keep up with the water, but he sees Burren, he's like, huh. He keeps
not
floating.
too bad. It's all right.
So you're
I'll be damned.
you're kind of keeping up with it. All right, Faradir.
Tessero's my pal. I feel responsible for this.
Tessero's only regretting this decision because his pipeweed's getting wet.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to try to, catch him. So I'm going to go below him, right here. Try to see if we can make it to the other side, alright?
Alright, athletics. Alright, so yeah, you're feeling pretty confident. This is, you've been all over the place. You've had to ford many rivers, so you're feeling okay. Alright, Anglin.
Anglin's going to be like, well, it was nice talking with you. I really must go now. And then he, pats the Bjorning on the back and then sprints towards the others.
He must think we're crazy.
Yeah, Anglin kind of is crazy, so. Oh, nice.
All right, yeah. So you're like Legolas and Carapace. You're just like walking on top of the water. So you see the Bjorning take a breath and holds on. All right, so the river keeps expanding, and the Bjorning is now underwater. All right, so we're back to Tessero. Tessero, you're going to get a penalty on your athletics check because the water has already sort of taken you away.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a -1 to your athletics roll.
Okay. Should I just do it and then?
Yeah.
All right. Oh wow.
Awesome. So you see everybody jumping in behind you, and you feel like, yeah, I'm like inspired people.
He doesn't realize they wanted to save him.
Good doggy paddle. All right. So Tessero actually manages to get out of the river. You guys all jump in after him.
It was fun.
And he's like, whew, just kidding.
Bye.
Just kidding.
Jeez.
Tessero's like just knocking the water out of his ears on the side.
I'm going to say that Riken makes it to about here, and he passes his athletics. Burton?
All right, so we're gonna try to continue swimming.
Did you fail last time?
No,
Or you passed? All right, so you're no sweat. You're pissed. You feel like you got to prove yourself this time?
Consider I almost drowned every time I touched water.
Cool.
Is this the same river you drowned in?
No,
Okay.
it was way worse.
Is this the river Anduin? Because I feel like that's a bigger river than
So this is does anybody remember what I said?
the other one. I don't remember what it was called.
The Greylin. It's a
Tributary.
tributary. It feeds into the Anduin.
Cool. From the mountains.
Correct.
Sweet. Alright, so I'm going to try to get here. See if I can get out.
Okay.
So I need an athletics check for that?
Yes, you do.
What happens if I fail?
Did you fail last time?
No, I succeeded last time.
Oh, you're good then. You'll get another shot at it.
Okay. Yeah, that's not great.
Okay. So you guys see Fairdeer losing a little bit. So you managed to like come a little bit this way, but you end up down here. So Anglin, your turn.
And did you say I'm gonna try and continue across? Did you say you just to hold off on the roll, or
Did you made it last time, right?
yeah, I did a 17.
Okay, so go ahead and roll one more time. So Anglin, as you're swimming, you hear the voice still on the wind.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're down here next to next to Fairdeer.
Okay.
All right. And the Bjorning, you actually haven't seen the Bjorning in a few, like, probably 6 seconds or 7, 8 seconds. All right, Tessero.
As if we're looking back.
He's like, I'm not dead yet.
Tessero's gonna run over here to this tree. He's gonna start climbing up.
It's a little bit like higher ground over there too.
Oh, okay. He's still gonna start climbing up the tree.
All right, got it. So guess what happens to the river? Continues to expand. So it makes it to sort of the base of this hill, and then Anglin, as you're swimming, you're like your head comes up out of the water, and then you no longer hear the voice anymore. So now Riken manages to like grab onto these rocks over here, and it's Burton's turn.
All right, I'm gonna roll and make it.
Okay. So you make 0 forward progress, and you come down here and you sort of bump into Anglin.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, buddy. All right, Fairdeer. So you have an athletics check with a -1. All right. So you, Mark of Rage in Twitch just said, "You're gonna drown." All right, so you managed to sort of get your, I would say footing, but more like flippers under you. So you can make your full movement if you want. Still difficult terrain.
Alright, so I'm like clinging onto the cliffside too.
Yeah. I'm just like hoping that the water doesn't keep rising.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm back.
All right, buddy, it's your turn. So Burren, basically, like, you're starting to doggy paddle and you got swept away, and then Burren just came in and slammed into you.
Nice.
So you have, so you're like, damn dwarf. So you have another athletics check with a -1.
Okay. A -2 because I already have a -1.
It's okay. It's okay.
Man.
So I drowned.
All right, so you keep going down here. You guys you like look over your shoulder and you see Anglin sort of getting totally swept away. Like you see his hand sticking up.
Does anyone have rope?
I'm sure. Surely somebody has like an explorer's pack of.
I think I have rope. I have to let go.
I have traveling gear, and I have a fine walking stick.
Thought you guys could use something other than a fight.
Yeah, like drowning. A nice Sunday swim. Something like that.
Yeah, you probably needed a bath anyway.
Yeah.
Traveling gear. A hero's traveling gear includes all the typical belongings they carry when traveling. In addition to their weapons and armor, adventurers being a somewhat rare breed in Middle-earth, there's little notion of any specialized equipment. Rather, most player heroes carry what anyone would have traversing the dangerous reaches of the wild. Sure, somebody has rope.
All right, can we say that I have rope?
You have rope.
All right, cool. So Tessero's in his tree, and he makes a lasso, and he tries to throw it at Anglin, wrap it around him.
All right.
Do you have him grab onto it?
Or can I tie it?
That's a 50-foot long rope.
Yeah, you got to get a 19 or a 20 on this roll.
Could I tie it to the end of an arrow or something? Would that make it better?
I don't know if you have time.
Yeah, it's each round is like 6 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay, I'll just throw the rope.
Okay, so just do a d20, I guess. All right. So the rope.
It's me with the rope.
Yeah. So you guys see this rope that just kind of falls slack next to Riken and whoever's sitting there. Yeah. So I guess Riken will attempt the same thing. So
he picks up the rope where it fell. There we go.
Yeah. So Riken picks up the rope and tosses it to Anglin. So Anglin, your hands are like sticking out of the water, and you feel this rope just like basically hit you in the hands. Oh, nice! All right, so you regain yourself, and you can get. How far is it?
I can get out 25.
All right, so you Riken helps you out of the water while he's holding onto the rope, or maybe Faradir does. The river, for the most part, appears to not be rising anymore, and it's Faradir's turn.
Right, I start reeling. Can I help Riken start reeling in?
Yeah, let's just say you guys are out of the water at this point. You guys rolled a 20, so you place the rope right in Anglin's hand. So he's going to hold on, and you guys get out of the river and manage to escape certain death.
All right. So take a breath.
Wonder what happened to that dude.
You hear gurgle, bubbles coming up.
Yeah, you don't really see him.
Oh, shit.
Why didn't he just run away?
He was freaked out for some reason. You don't know, the Bjornings are a little superstitious, so you're not really sure if he's seen this happen before, or is just is scared of the ravens, or of the, what are they called? The crebain. All right, so Marco, let's say, do you have what do you use to track? Does it say in your character?
You always use survival to track.
All right, so let's
get advantage on survival on tracking as a wanderer.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that.
21.
So you pick up. You see where the water has kind of washed most of it away, but as you get farther away from the river, you're able to figure out sort of where everybody's going.
Though this marks the end of the episode, the road goes ever on. Until next time, join us at longwinded.one and consider giving us a review on Apple Music, Spotify, or really whichever platform you choose.